What up, nation? NFL Week 5, CK. Find me on Twitter at CK_013. Just finished watching the Met game, man. Just finished watching the Met game. Crushed. Devastated. But not broken, because we do have Jacob deGrom taking the hill. My New York Football Jets are now 2-2. Which is better than where I thought they'd be, which is 0-4. So things are looking up. Slate's pretty good too. If you're new here, welcome. Please hit the like button, subscribe, all that good stuff. I'm going to go over NFL Week 5. I think it's a pretty good slate. We'll go ahead and jump into it. Starting with quarterbacks. Josh Allen, big favorite at home against Pittsburgh, who does not look very good at all, right? Hard to imagine the Bills not rolling them, right? Like you could see like maybe a backdoor cover if anything, but really hard to imagine them not just doing dirties. Now, on the one hand, you say, oh, but if they don't get pushed, then he won't do well. They'll just run the ball. But that's not really the Bills' MO. Even when they killed the Rams, it really wasn't the MO. Now, this is a different situation, right? The Rams are a pretty good team. So it's possible this is that game, and I think Singletary is in play. But I wouldn't put it this way: if I decided to do some Josh Allen stacks, which he's not my favorite quarterback honestly, so we'll see if I get there. But if I decide to do some Josh Allen stacks, I'm more or less doing it like onslaught style. Like I'm just taking Bills, no bringbacks, none of that. But definitely in play, and he'll get some ownership. Jalen Hurts, I think he's going to be more popular than projected. I hope not, because, he's got to be, he's my favorite quarterback. Like, price not included, everything. He's my favorite quarterback. What's not to like? Arizona plays fast. The defense is not good. In fact, it's final Arizona. Arizona, 28th against the pass and DVOA so far. 11th against the run. So they've actually been decent against the run, but terrible against the pass. Jalen Hurts has been an absolute beast. Jacksonville, that was the game where the score was closer than the game was, right? Well, Jacksonville jumped out ahead, but then the Eagles kind of did their thing and controlled it, and it was a sloppy game, and it was nasty, weather-wise nasty. But yeah, I think he goes back to putting those big numbers up, but this is a game where he can do even better, right, against Arizona. So Jalen Hurts got to be my favorite quarterback. Kyler Murray's not far behind. I like Kyler Murray too, to be honest with you. Kyler Murray won me a lot of money last year. Won me about $15K last year 1 week, and this is a prime spot for that as well. Although, it's a little early to rely solely on anything is never a good idea. But it's early for DVOA. However, it's worth noting that Philly has been second against the run and DVOA, and 23rd against the pass, which is a complete flip-flop of what Philly's been over the last few years. They've been elite against the run, and the passes where you were able to attack them. But it hasn't been the case this year now. I think, obviously, playing someone like Kyler Murray, this is the most, mobile quarterback they will have seen. Don't get me wrong, Mahomes can move. But Kyler Murray is, he's fast. He just runs. He's quick. So I could see this being interesting. I could see these quarterbacks pushing each other. So I do like Kyler Murray a little bit cheaper. After that, I skip all the way down to Brady. And I think Brady's going to be real popular. But look at the volume. They got destroyed by Kansas City. But, garbage time city, whatever, 3 touchdowns. But he's cheap. Godwin's cheap. Evans is cheap. And they're playing Atlanta. And I think Atlanta's been worse against the run, if I'm not mistaken. 26th against the run DVOA, but 17th against the pass. It's not like they're great. And this is Brady. This might be more of a situation where if you're concerned about Tampa Bay blowing them out, they will feed Fournette and, I don't think they'll push Brady too hard. Then again, these guys haven't really played a ton healthy, so they could use this as an opportunity. I mean, Brady's up there. When you consider the price, would I have liked Brady if he was up there with those other guys or like in the 7Ks? Maybe not, right? Like honestly, maybe not. But at 6K, he's on my radar, and he's got to be on everybody else's. I think at least to a degree on Draftkings. But what's not to like? Going cheap, I think T-Law is kind of interesting. Like Houston is definitely like a team you want to attack with the run more than anything else if you have to prioritize. Houston currently 29th against the run, 16th against the pass. But interesting leverage stack, I would think, with Trevor Lawrence, assuming that everybody is going to play James Robinson, which I think will be the case. I think a lot of people will. A couple of surprising, like, guys that I would never go heavy on, but if I was doing like the 150 thing, I'd probably get some exposure to. Like, check out these defenses. Seattle, 32nd against the pass. Miami, 31st against the pass. Washington, 30. Jets, 29. Just don't touch Teddy B. Then there's Arizona right there. But anyway, let's go to running backs. I don't think a lot of people are going to be paying up for running backs. I think McCaffrey, he finally got the targets, but then the carries were down. So it just seems like he's not really like beasting like everybody wants to see, like in terms of volume. Now he's producing, and anytime his ownership's going to be low, it's crazy, but there's not a ton of value that I think is like sexy value this week. If things could change as injuries open up. But I think because of that, more people are going to go to that mid route. And the mid tier is like semi-loaded. I say semi-loaded because I don't think anybody in there is really a slam dunk. But I think that there's definitely a lot of plays you can make a case for. But McCaffrey's ownership should be extremely low. Extremely low. Derrick Henry against Washington. He did the dirty. Doug Nasty, Freak Nasty against Indiana. Against the Colts, I mean. I think what it comes down to this week with Henry is you're looking at, like, if he goes for 40, one of those games is definitely possible. Like, this is one of those situations where he could do one of them 40 burgers. Now, he's normally, I think, more of a second half dude. I think isn't that the MO of him? But all in all, Washington has actually been 6th against the run and 30th against the pass, for whatever that's worth. But again, nobody will play him. The Bills, I just told you Jalen Hurts is my favorite quarterback. So me affording some of these guys is just unlikely. But we can go through them. Nick Chubb is pretty much this entire offense, at least the good parts. So running back is like I said, semi-loaded. Because you got more guys in more positions. Austin Eckler against Cleveland. Cleveland's been garbage. Eckler coming off a monster game. I think Fournette, if you're not playing Brady, I would think that you got to be looking at Fournette at least a little bit, right? Kansas City, they were losing. But even in the game he was losing, he put up his second highest fantasy point total because of the pass work. So it just seems like regardless of what the game script is, he's going to get the work, right? First 2 weeks in games where they were handily winning, he got over 20 carries in each game. So, yeah, I think Fournette probably fits the optimals. Seattle against Kamara. Kamara is supposed to be back. Andy Dalton's there. Could see some more checkdowns. Possible. But again, there's just a lot of running backs. So we'll keep going. Jamal Williams. A lot of people are going to be on the Patriots running back, and we'll talk about them. But for good reason. Detroit is awful against the run. Detroit dead last against the run, 32nd. But guess who's 31st right now? New England Patriots. We know that Swift is still out. I did like the volume we got from him against Seattle. And we know Mac Jones is out, so it's that Bailey Zapp dude playing again. Every Detroit game is a shootout, so you feel like you want a piece. Jamal Williams could be an interesting leverage play, but we could just see these teams run the ball efficiently on both sides. So I think Jamal Williams kind of interesting. They raised his price, which makes sense, probably where it should be. But I was surprised that he didn't get more pass game work, especially because that's what that was his main role for Green Bay for a little while on third downs, but it is what it is. James Robinson will be pretty popular, I think. And rightfully so, right? Philly was a shit game, and, he got a shit performance. But prior to that, pretty consistent double-digit fantasy points. Again, we're getting in that sweet spot for pricing in the mid-tier. I do think that Connor will be extremely low-owned. And I get it. He hasn't really posted it. Like, to choose him over guys you've seen put up 25, like, more consistently, it's nerve-wracking. But again, we did discuss that so far this season, Philly has been more of a run funnel than a pass funnel. And I think that Connor is someone that even if that's not really, even if that's not real, when push comes to shove and it's just like variance taken into place, I think they will involve Connor out of the backfield. We saw week 1 he got 6 targets, and week 2 4 5, and I think we could see a game where he gets like 8 or 9 targets in a game if that's what's just open against the opponent. And again, just mentioned that even in the trailing game script, we just mentioned that Philly's secondary has been pretty good this year. So, again, something to consider. At least in games, probably only in game stacks. Like I probably wouldn't play him for just to play him, but I think game stacks, all that. Singletary, we talked about briefly, is okay, but Stevenson and Stevenson and Damian Harris, it seems like this flip a coin. I'm honestly, bro, I think you could probably play both on Draftkings this week. I say Draftkings because I haven't actually checked their FanDuel prices yet. I'll be doing that tonight or tomorrow morning. Dive it into the FanDuel side, but I mean 5-6 on DraftKings. He's not a big password guy, but it's Detroit. It's Detroit, so it's hard to envision that defense stopping him. And his carries have been good. Miami only 9, but they were losing that game. 15 against Pittsburgh, 11 against Baltimore, 18 against Green Bay. Green Bay struggles against the run, we know that. Ramondre Stevenson, double-digit carries his last 2 games. Like, the carries are not far off. He gets a little more targets. I think you could potentially play them both. I think you could. It's a massive slate. It's scary to do that, especially on a loaded running back slate. And like that's the only thing that would hold me back from doing it is that this running back slate, like it is semi-loaded. So you feel like there's other options. Like, am I gonna take this and hope they both go for what? They both go for 30? Like, you're really hoping they both go for around like anywhere from like 16 to 20, like 25 at a peak. That's really what you're hoping for. Other guys on the slate that can beat that, because that's something that'll make you like hesitate. But I guess you just gotta go game script. Stevenson is clearly the pass catching one. I wouldn't say clearly. It's only been a couple instances, right? The last 2 games he got 5 targets, but we know the Patriots typically like to have one guy that's more so for this and one guy more so for that. So hasn't been the case, man. Flip a coin. Best matchup on the board, but it's got to be in that situation where they pretty much split everything down the middle. Brees Hall, I've heard his name a lot, man. I heard his name a lot. 17 carries, yada 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 yada. But as we discussed, Miami, their weakness this season has been against the pass. They're actually 4th against the run. Now, I think people are getting excited about the targets, which I understand. But if the Jets are able to throw the ball downfield with guys like Garrett Wilson and all these guys, they're going to do that instead. So I think that if you're playing Brees, I think you almost have to kind of rely a little bit. And if Tua was playing, I would honestly like him more. Like, I think Teddy will do okay, but I don't think Teddy's going to like move the ball at the same pace that Tua would have, because Tua is a little more, he can get the ball down the field. Teddy's never really been a good deep ball thrower. You know what I mean? So, I don't know. Not really enjoy. Yeah, but phenomenal plays, right? Wide receiver. And then you got Cooper Kupp, Justin Jefferson. You got guys. These guys will be low on too. All these guys. It's going to end up being mid-tier. A lot of people are going to pay up a quarterback. Some of the receivers are like mid-tier city. And unless crazy value opens up, I don't think a lot of these guys are going to be very popular. Other than like if their quarterback is like maybe Diggs because people play Allen. Tyreek Hill against the Jets. I don't really care about matchup when it comes to Tyreek. I don't care that much. Because he's just so damn fast. You know what I mean? But his quad looks like he's questionable. I'm sure he'll see some Sauce Gardner, who's a rookie. I'm fine with it. I think that game could be I think that game could put up some points. I mean, it's hard to envision Miami, even with Bridgewater not scoring. And Miami's defense against the pass has been a little, I don't know. AJ Brown, obviously, he'll be owned because Jalen Hurts is going to be owned. Hasn't posted up a monster game since week 1. Washington was okay, but this could be it. Exactly. I think you need. Notice how it was the only game that was like a true shootout with like it was indoors, all that. They got nice weather in Arizona, I'm assuming, because it's just always like that there. So yeah, I think AJ Brown and the whole Eagles receiving core is in play, heavily in play. Marquise Brown, man, look at these targets. They're trying to force this man the ball. Hard to ignore. We talked about these teams. Then you get into the pricing, right? Like Mike Evans, only 6'9", but then I think the one that I think I'm gonna be unpopular. Godwin, man. Just came back week 4, had 10 targets right out the gate. And you didn't get a touchdown or anything, but had 10 targets right out the gate. Nice playing Atlanta. And he's 5'9". I expect Godwin to be in a lot of optimal builds. I think London, while we're on the subject, is like the clear bring back when you are playing Brady teams, especially with Cordero Patterson out, Kyle Pitts out. I think London is just like, you're just going there, right? Right? But other than that, like, you know, we could talk about all these guys, but a lot of it's going to come down to your quarterback in tournaments anyways, right? Because you're doing correlation bringbacks, you're doing these things. So other than that, you're pretty much looking for like value a lot of the time, right? Like, yeah, granted, you want some guys that like when your flex comes up, you feel confident plug it in there. But the value is tough, man. I think Zay Jones will be pretty popular, assuming he does play, right? I mean, everybody was surprised. He was like ruled out on some surprise shit. Rondale Moore, you can get exposure to that game now. I think AJ Green was out last week, so he played 80. Rondale Moore played 86% of the snaps. That was his first game back, first game of the season because he got hurt like in prep for week 1, and he played 86% of the snaps. He didn't do a ton with it, right? Did get 5 targets, so they tried to evolve him a little bit, but wasn't really efficient. But hey, I'm saying, especially if you're in the you know, the whole Eagles try to take out your number 1 receiver deal. He's in play. You just wonder, there's Dortch, there's the tight end that can get involved. Talked about Connor. There's a lot of pieces shuffling around, but I do like the idea of grabbing value from a game that I'm already stacking and getting me some correlation in the lineups. But I think Jacksonville is probably the most standout guys right now. Maybe some Pickens garbage time with Kenny Pickett going in, 7 targets, 8 targets, trying to get him more involved here. But I think it's more so like, I'm looking more so at like, you know, Jacksonville's guys for now and Rondale Moore. Unless something opens up, man. Something could open up. We'll have to wait and see. Cole Beasley retired, man. What is he doing here, man? I mean, I guess on Buffalo, there should be some value, right? Because, McKenzie's questionable. If McKenzie was out, we know Crowder's out, Kumero's out. I would think that this guy, Khalil Shakir, would end up picking up a lot of those slot reps. And then you got garbage time factored in. But we're reaching at this point, right? On to tight ends. If Amon-Ra St. Brown is out, that's a boost for Hawkinson like we saw against Seattle. A little bit of a different matchup. I'm going to end up with a lot of Ertz and Goddard because I just told you I like that game. So, you know, I'm going to end up with a lot of Ertz and Goddard. That's that. Higbee, man, 14 targets against San Francisco. That was pretty wild, right? That was pretty wild. Kind of makes you wonder. It's too bad Carolina doesn't have a good tight end because you would like to see a second run of that. But, you know, another position you could try to save some money. We talked about Kyle Pitts being out. Take a look and see. It's kind of murky, right? It's murky, right? I mean, we've seen Fersker do some shit, you know. We've seen Fersker do some shit with Tennessee. But right now, I don't know. You know what I mean? But Pitts is out. There's some openings, you know. But yeah, I'm cool with Kittle and these guys, but I think that around like Ertz and Goddard are where I am. And I think that's going to see a lot. That's why I think the mid-tier is strong because I don't think people feel like too comfortable with the value that we see. I think Higbee will get a lot of love because of the 14 targets he got last time out. I think Njoku is probably going to start popping up people's radars. 7 targets against Atlanta. 10 targets against Pitt. I mean, that first game of the season didn't get much, but Carolina has been proven to be a decent secondary or something because we're not seeing, offenses really like throw all over them like you would think, right? But yeah, I think Njoku is definitely a very cheap option. Probably my favorite punt option on the board. And that's that. It's going to be a wild week. I didn't have the chat up. My apologies if you were in there. I don't think anybody in anyway. But appreciate you guys for hanging out. It's a rough one, man. So it was a rough night for me tonight, man. My Mets did me dirty. Did me dirty against the Braves. Did me dirty tonight. But we'll see what happens tomorrow with DeGrom. And then we're going to smash this Sunday in NFL. My article will be up Saturday night or Sunday morning, one of the two. Projections will be up tomorrow. But I appreciate you guys for hanging out with me, checking out the show. I'm going to get out of here. As always, good luck.